lovely viewers, you are welcome to the Voice of the Youth. The Voice of the Youth, as you may be aware, is a live talk show that promotes discussions that aid personal and national development of young people across our nation, Ghana, and beyond. This program always comes to you every Monday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on this platform, Mido TV and Mido Facebook page. So I just want to invite you to get someone also invited. Like, subscribe to our page, and also make a comment when the discussion kickstarts. Today, we're going to discuss on the topic, youth interests and party manifestos. As you may be aware, a lot of people believe that manifestos are most useful document when it comes to political parties, engagement, and when it comes to elections across this nation, Ghana, and even beyond. In most countries like Ghana, political parties come out with manifestos so that they can communicate their ideas, their policies, and their pledges to the electorate that will convince them to vote them into power or otherwise. We go deep into the discussion after a commercial break, but as you may be aware, I'll be joined by some guests in the studio, 2 guests in the studio and 3 guests via Zoom, for us to have a very extensive discussion. But you are also going to be part of the discussion, so I will announce the phone lines when they are opened. I will announce them, so when the lines are opened, you can call in to make your contribution. You can ask questions also, because I'm very sure that my guests in the studio and those on Zoom are very well prepared to respond to your questions. The numbers you can call are 030-2234-087. Or you can also send a WhatsApp message on 050-2651-282. You can also call 030-2233-021. Any of these numbers will be able to receive your calls and read your comments as well. Please stay tuned, don't go anywhere. This is the Voice of the Youth, and I'm your host, Bakwesi Edu. I'll be coming back after the commercial break, and I'll introduce my guest and kickstart the discussion.
All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we go, you find us so we can light up the place, yeah. All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we go, you find us so we can light up the place, yeah. We the best, oh, no more stress, no, no, better services, yeah. Yeah. Quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we go, you find us so we can light up the place, yeah.
Do you need that quality video for your TV, your YouTube and Facebook page? Talk to us. Mido Studios, experts in TV shows, virtual concerts, e-learning videos, reality show auditions, preaching, live band recordings and radio commercials. Call now for your booking on 0302-234087 or 0502-651282. Mido Studios, affordable prices awaits you.
You are welcome back to the Voice of the Youth. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to discuss youth interests and party manifestos. I mentioned earlier that manifestos are perhaps the most useful document when it comes to exploring and evaluating the policy documents or proposals, pledges and values of a political party. In countries like Ghana, these manifestos are aligned to kickstart their campaigns towards elections, and parties use that to pitch their ideas and their policies when they promise of what they promise to implement if elected into office. While a manifesto in itself is not necessarily a legal document, there are a lot of controversies surrounding it as whether they are relevant, as whether they make much influence as far as the electorate are concerned, whether the manifestos really influence the decision of the electorate or not. But today, we are actually looking at what are the interests of young people and what are the things that are captured in the manifestos of political parties. Do they consider the interests of young people? Are the inputs of young people considered? And to what extent does the implementation of these manifestos aid or promote development of young people in our country, Ghana? And to do an extensive discussion, as I mentioned earlier, I'll be joined in the studio with 2 guests, and 3 other guests will be joining us via Zoom. And you are also the other guests, so don't forget to call in by 030-2234-087 or 030-2233-021. You can also send a WhatsApp message by 050-2651-282. The numbers are streaming, so I'm sure you can still pick them up and get in touch with us. So let me just kickstart the discussion with my guests first. I will introduce them to you, and then I will take their views on the topic. Gentlemen, you are welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
By God's grace, can't complain.
You have to speak up so that my viewers can hear you well. Okay, so I have to my immediate right Mr. Steve Kubati Salifu. He's a Deputy National Sponsorship Advisor, SOS Children's Homes, Ghana. He's a former GIG SRC President, a former Ghana Professional Student President. The gentleman I handed over to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, as GAP's president, yes. And he's a big man now. He's a big man now. National Deputy Advisor, Sponsorship Advisor. You're not a small boy, you're a big man. You're welcome, Steve.
Oh, thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
People call him Cool Baby. We will explain to us what is a Cool Baby.
But before you move, it's SOS Children's Villages, Ghana, not Children's Home.
Okay, so SOS Children's Villages, Ghana.
Yes.
Okay. So he's a journalist. He's trying to make sure I'm correct. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So how is SOS doing?
We are doing very well. Doing very well.
Okay, what do you do?
Oh, we are...
Maybe for the clarity of those who don't know.
Oh, we are basically a social development organization that support vulnerable children
Okay.
who are in need of help.
Okay.
And we actually operate in 136 countries globally.
Okay.
We are headquartered in Innsbruck, a regional office in Zimbabwe, and all that. But we are doing quite a lot in Ghana. We are operating 4 villages, and then we have several activities that we do in the communities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Yes.
Kudos. You guys are doing well.
Thank you so much.
That's why I say you're a big man.
Oh.
And so my next guest in the studio is someone say he has become the Kokuba, my regular guest, Kokuba scientist and also an entrepreneur. Finally, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
By His grace, I'm very fine.
Yeah. How is your business going?
We thank God. We thank God for where it is now.
Okay.
But we are looking for more investors. So anyone watching and is interested in investing in the dairy beverage industry is welcome to invest in us.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's Fanuel. I'm sure if you follow this program very well, Fanuel is not a new face on Voice of the Youth at all. So distinguished guest documents. But I will take your view just before we even delve into our main questions. What, in your view, is a manifesto? What, in your view, is a manifesto? So I'll start with you, Fanuel. I'll come back to Kubati.
Okay. So in the simplest term, I would want to say a manifesto is a document that promises the electorate what a certain group of people, a political party, seeks to do.
Mr. Kubati.
Yes. For me, I would want to say that manifestos are basically intentions. They are intentions of what a political party intends to do. And not only a political party, even an individual who is contesting elections. So you are contesting elections, but you are not contesting elections in a vacuum.
Okay.
Intentions of what exactly you want to do.
Okay.
And how you intend doing them.
Okay.
So in brief, that is what manifestos are.
Okay.
Yes.
So in brief, that's what you. So we have online Mr. Emmanuel Kuma, MSc Communication student, Clark University, USA. Emmanuel, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Pakwesi, and you?
I'm doing well. I have your boss in the studio here.
Oh,
Yes. I've been
So
listening
Emmanuel
to him all
happened to
this
be a
while.
former GIGS as
That's my
president.
boss. You're exactly right.
Second or third after father. Okay, and how is USA?
Oh, by God's grace, we are doing very well. I mean, schools are resuming and all that, so everybody is more like getting ready.
Okay, Festo.
Well, I think that in simple terms, it's more to govern or lead a country or a people.
Okay. Thank you very much. So stay online. We are going to get into the deeper part of the conversation. So propose to their electorate. Let me also introduce to you the other guests on Zoom. I have on Zoom Felix Enim Apau. Mr. Felix Enim of Ghana student. Felix, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, PK.
How are you doing? Your view on what you think manifestos are.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon to all viewers. When we say a manifesto, I see a manifesto as the codified intent of a political party or anyone contesting for an election, principles, or actions that particular political party or individual would want to take so that the citizenry will also benefit.
Okay, thank you very much, Felix. So this time around, I'm going to start with you, Emmanuel, then I'll come back to my guests in the studio. So Emmanuel, Felix, Fanuel, and Stephen, you do when they come into power regarding the nation they want to rule. So let me find out from you. What processes do these political parties go through to craft or formulate their manifestos? Yeah, let me start with you, Emmanuel, then I'll go to Felix and I come back to the studio.
Using Ghana as a case that a lot of the times political parties, put together committees more of like technocrats, in various fields who come together and then they look at what exactly the country needs at a point in time, and then what is marketable at that point, and then craft items. But
Emmanuel,
in recent times,
if you can position your microphone so that I could hear you, I hardly hear you well, please.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I did say that a lot of the times political parties put together committees that are made up of technocrats in various fields, and they actually put together policies that they market to the people. In recent times, we have seen that people, they try to gather information from the various parts of the country. They try to meet stakeholder groups and stuff like that. And, based on their inputs, or take their inputs based on what they say. It's very important, or they need to consider. They actually factor these things in their manifesto. So you take into consideration, or you take a look at what the NDC did. That was more like having a broad stakeholder consultation, trying to solicit the views of people, and then factoring that into their constitution. What the MPP did was also to actually put up a committee that actually, I didn't hear much of. I didn't hear much of they doing a broad stakeholder consultation, but I feel that the committee they put together actually started and drafted their constitution. So and drafted their manifesto. So it's in two aspects. More like trying to hear from the people and getting their take on what they feel it's needed at this point in time, and then two, bringing people from different fields and all that and putting them together to work together in drafting the policies or the manifesto.
Okay, so you kind of say that committees are usually formed, or they have a broad consultation from some stakeholders. So that's the view of Emmanuel. Emmanuel, do you think are the processes involved in crafting a manifesto by political parties?
Okay, first once again, PK. When we look at the Constitution, I stand to be corrected though, it states two main ministries or ministerial positions. which are part of the cabinet, which is the office, they set up or add up more to these ministries so that they will be able to govern the state well. So if they realize that we have ministry A or B, so what they do is that they do consulting. They consult experts, people who are endowed when it comes to, let's say, the environment, when it comes to finance, when it comes to, let me say, aviation, and all the other areas you can think of, that they know that these are the specific areas that when we divide the economy, into these specific areas, we'll be able to tackle each aspect of it. For that reason, they consult people who are endowed in terms of knowledge in these areas, who have the expertise. And so the manifesto process involves, making consultations from people from other fields or from various fields, such that when they come, they will be able to get every aspect of the economy, put it together, make it a document. It will be a guideline, then they use it to govern. But as to whether these manifestos are beneficial to the
traits or the Ghanaian populace or not. Back to you, Stephen and Fanuel. Stephen.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Yes, for me, I like my colleagues rightly said, putting in place a manifesto is not really a very easy process. Because we are talking about 2 million people. Now, what I know, I don't belong to any political party, so I cannot tell how deeply they go in their whole process. But observing from my far,
of observation.
Yes, observing from my far, I believe strongly. What I've observed is that the first stage of every political party process is they look that they intend to deliver for the year in which they are contesting. So if your team is that you are looking for a better Ghana, how do you deliver the better Ghana? So once you are able to establish your team for that particular year or for that elections, then they set up committees. And these committees do what we call broad-based consultations. They consult experts from all spheres of the endeavor. So it be sports, agric, energy, women issues, children. These experts bring in opinions. And in forming these committees, they take into consideration the regional balance. They look at, because Ghana is made up of people from different aspects of the country. So they look at issues of regional balance.
So
issues
you mean that the theme actually guides them to spread out into different routes or branches.
Exactly. Because you see, if your team, if you are looking at, if you have an agenda for jobs or transforming lives, it
means team, right?
Yeah, team.
I was hearing team.
Not the team. So not the team as in TE.
But you mean the theme?
The team. You understand? Yes. That gives you a fair idea of what you are bringing on board. You see, you cannot go into elections in a vacuum, like I always say. So the team determines what is it that you want to do. So, for example, is your first term is used to restructure the economy, and your second term is about jobs. Then you are looking at who are the experts that I can bring in on board to bring jobs. Because when you have jobs, there's prosperity for all. Jobs is like the bedrock. So these committees, like I said, they look at the regional compositions, because you see, if you are forming a committee, you must look at the people who are feeling it. So if you bring somebody from Accra to sit on a committee thinking that he'll be able to advise you on what somebody in Nkwanta needs, somebody in Bolga needs, you will not get it.
So basically, to form committees, they are being advised by their theme for that election year. And then they consult other people. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kubati. I'll come back to you again. Fanuel, what's your take on that?
I think basically they've touched on almost the various pointers that are put together or are considered before a manifesto is drawn. Beginning from what my boss Kubati said, they look at the theme. So there's a theme that guides whatever they want to do. Then a vision is drawn out of it. What do we want to achieve at the end of this? If we are talking about a better Ghana, what form of better Ghana?
Okay.
So that becomes like a vision they are looking at. And then if this is our vision, then who are the people we can bring on board, just like he was saying? So the experts come on board. The experts also go down there to do their various consultation, considering that it is not just going to be drawn to favor the expert or whoever is drawing it, but the very Ghanaian, the normal Ghanaian on the street has to benefit from whatever promises we are bringing. So some form of consultation to every sector, looking at the experts and how they are in touch with the people they are dealing with, and then they come up together and bring this document called manifestos to us.
Okay, so basically all my guests are saying that there is a broad consultation, committees are formed, and the theme for each political party serves as a guiding principle for them to come out with their manifestos. I have been joined by the third guest on Zoom, and the third guest is called Wanda Ndichi YDR. Wanda Ndichi YDR. Wanda Ndichi YDR is the research director. Is the Director of Research for Dynamic Youth Movement, or DYMOC. Wanda, you are welcome. Hello, Mr. Wanda Ndichi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon. And good afternoon to your cherished viewers and the panelists in the studio.
Good afternoon. So I will pick your comments later. Wanda, thank you very much for joining us. So, Kubati, we have just looked at that as the introductory part of our topic. Now, you have opined that consultations go on, committees are formed, and then people are guided, political parties are guided by their theme for the year. Now, to what extent can we say we are approaching a general election in this country, Ghana? We have barely about over 3 months, not even up to 4 months. Yeah, if my calculations are right, we have barely about 3 or 4 months to general elections in this country, Ghana. What do you think are the expectations? What are the expectations? What are the interests of the youth in this year's elections vis-a-vis the political manifestos that are going to be available? I understand the NPP had launched their party manifesto. We are here to hear from the NDC, which are the two major political parties, CPP, PPP, and the rest. What are the expectations of the youth and the interests of the youth?
Thank you so much, PK. For the youth, so many expectations. So many expectations. But the underlying critical factor has always been jobs. Jobs and jobs. Nothing else. Trust me, if you have a job, you can take care of your health issues. You can take care of issues of your food, what you eat in a day. You can pay your rent. That is the underlying factor.
So job is number one. What else?
Quality education.
Quality education. The third one?
Oh, I mean, how would I say? Maybe health issues.
Okay.
Yes.
Kubati says job, quality education, and health issues.
Yes.
Finally, I'm not jumping you. I'll come back to it. But let me pick Wanda's thought on that. Wanda Ndichi, YDR, Director of Research, DYMOC. I've seen many of articles written by you and your organization. What are your expectations as a youth group as far as political party manifestos are concerned? What are the youth expecting?
The research have shown that the youth of the country are looking for jobs, number one, jobs, number two, jobs, number three.
Wow, jobs number one, jobs number two, jobs number three. Can you explain what you mean by job 1, 2, 3?
Okay, so jobs number one, even how the youth can get engaged in productive activity.
Okay.
Jobs number two, we are looking for the youth.
So, okay, Wanda, maybe you will get back to you. Your network is a little bad, so we'll get back to you, please. Just rejoin the session, please. Thank you very much. So, Fanuel, what's your take on that? What are the expectations for youth? You're a young person. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I think the major one has been mentioned by the very two guests talking about jobs, which is the very major one. But I would want to put it in the context of employment, because not necessarily the government creating jobs, but creating avenues where youth can really even employ themselves, give themselves job, not necessarily I'm creating jobs for you. Secondly, looking at I'm looking at something in the agri sector, specifically, let me be specific, where there'll be more policies to involve youth in agri. We've had some in the past, but we want to look at more robust policies that will involve the youth in agriculture, because I always say it is our backbone. And then we come back to health. I want to see policies that will strengthen our healthcare in the country, where we can have first-class healthcare and not fly our ministers and the rest out of the country to go get healthcare, but they can believe in our healthcare system. So jobs being the headline of it, like Kubate says, if a youth has a good livelihood, can earn from something he or she is doing, and it's really paying, then they can take care of their healthcare. They can walk into the hospital and pay for their healthcare. Then we'll not be looking at say anything called free, so. And then education also, if we have its quality and the money is there, they walk into the schools, they can pay and then get the kind of education they want. So job is the headline of everything.
Job. Kubate says job, quality education.
Yes.
Fanuel says job, health, employment, and then Wanda also talk about job. So I'm sure I will soon pick the take of Emmanuel and Wanda. But before then, let me come back to you. So you have outlined some of the expectations of young people as far as political party manifestos are concerned. Now, I have a very troubling question.
Okay.
Manifestos, at least, if for nothing, since 1992, with the introduction of the Fourth Republic, I can say for a fact that there have been political party manifestos from both the major political parties and even the smaller political parties, if I'm permitted to use that word to describe them. Now, to what extent has these manifestos been relevant before, during, and after elections? I will start with you, Stephen.
My brother, manifestos have always been very relevant. You see, the aspect that makes them look irrelevant is the individual driving the manifestos. So if you put in a document and said, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, it is not a document that is irrelevant. The document is very, very relevant. But it's about the people, their will to carry out the content of the manifesto of that document. That is a problem. So you see, over the years, for instance, in 2016, Nana Akufo-Addo said that, look, he was going to implement free SHS. He has implemented that.
His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Exactly.
You accord him that
His Excellency,
as the president of the country.
His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, of course.
Okay.
I mean, without any prejudice to anything.
Sure.
He said he was going to implement free SHS. Yeah. He has done that. And many people are benefiting from it. Okay. So if he had promised that he was going to do it and he doesn't do it, then you can say that you cannot blame the document. You cannot say that the document that they've put together is not relevant. But it is about the individual's will to carry out the contents of that. So manifestos have always been relevant.
Yeah, well, I will come back to you to continue, but if you say manifestos are relevant, manifestos are documents that did not evolve by themselves, but they were put in place by human beings or human institutions.
Yes.
But I will come back to you for that.
Yes.
Emmanuel, what's your take on that? To what extent are manifestos relevant before, during, and after elections?
Well, I think I very much agree with what Steve had already said. They are very relevant documents, and you just try to say that before they came into being, they were put together by people. It's more like you going to the shop to get an equipment, and it has a manual in it. The manual can be likened to the manifesto. Okay. It depends on how, if you're able to read it well and all that, you'll be able to fix whatever you bought. But if you are not able to read it well, you cannot fix it. And so you may have the document, or you may have the document which says as a blueprint.
No, Emmanuel, before you continue, I beg to differ there, because a manual comes as a guide to an instrument or equipment or something. And so if you say, if I'm able to read it well, I can use it well. Fine. But in the case of manifesto, these are proposed or these are put together by a political party. So let's assume party A proposes to do ABC and they wins power. It is not entirely the responsibility of the electorate to read the manifesto and then do it. It is the leadership of that party in power who has the responsibility to ensure it. Do you get my point? That's why I differ a little. So let's just to set that record straight.
I am making reference. I'm actually speaking or making reference to governments.
Okay.
But it's more like a social contract. Once you win power, you have a social contract with the people.
Sure.
Who gave you the power to go by the manifesto or by the manifesto on which they actually depended on to vote for you. That was what you promised them, and so it's more of a social contract where you need to go by, to actually deliver on your mandate. As to whether it's irrelevant after elections, that is another conversation for another day. Governments come in and governments go, and they end up not fulfilling everything that they've said. And so it's up to us as a people, to actually hold governments accountable for the sort of things they promise, and then and make sure, demand more of them that they deliver on whatever they promise in their manifesto. Okay,
Emmanuel, I'm not trying to pin you so much, but throwing back to you. You have mentioned that the electorate have to follow up and make sure that the government in power implement this. But I will come back to you. Wanda, what's your take on this? Hello, Wanda. To what extent? Yeah.
Yes, manifestos before elections are very important. During elections are very important, but after elections are very important. Because when we are
Wanda, your sound is very bad. I don't know. Maybe you have to reposition yourself, and then we'll get you back, please. We'll get you back. My producers will get in touch. So, Felix, can I pick your take on that? To what extent are manifestos relevant before, during, or after elections?
Okay, thank you very much once again, PK. One basic question we need to ask ourselves is, do we really need a manifesto as a country, Ghana? Or because we are practicing democracy and the people we are mimicking do have manifestos, so we are also, issuing manifestos. Is it just an avenue for political parties to go and make ambitious promises when they can't even fulfill, or it is something that they actually promise they can and deliver? How many people in the country, or what is the percentage of the citizenry that are able to read these manifestos and understand them, such that whether they are able to execute them or not, they will put them to strict scrutiny in their next, in the next elections, or the next time they come to them to solicit for their votes. In Ghana, for instance, there are so many, people in the villages. My grandmother, my mother in the village, with all due respect, they are illiterate. They didn't go to school. They can't read these manifestos.
So Felix, Felix, so in a nutshell, Felix, in a nutshell, I don't seem to catch you, but maybe in a nutshell, what's your stand on this? Do you think manifestos are relevant? Because you asked whether do we really need manifestos, but I think that we need manifestos, because if you are coming to lead us, what are you going to lead us with? But what's your take? Where do you stand? Are they relevant or they are not?
PK, they are relevant in every democracy.
Okay.
But the question still remains, in our part or in our democracy, do we really need it? That is if at the end of the
we will
day,
come to that. It's one of the questions I'll be asking. We will come to that. We'll come to that after a commercial break. We'll come to that, but I get your point. Yes, they are relevant, but we'll come whether these manifestos, we need them at all as a guiding principles to determine whether we should vote our leaders into power or not. But viewers, I'll be going for a commercial break, and when I come back, we'll continue the discussion. But let me announce again the phone line so that you can call in when we come back from the commercial break. The numbers are 030-2234-087 or 030-2233-021. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 050-2651-282. Make your comment, and please don't forget to share the link and comment as well. This is the voice of the youth. Stay tuned. We are going for a commercial break. When we come back, the discussion continues.
The trumpets are available. You can learn sound engineering. So come, for we with specific music needs. Art Music Solutions School, we teach all the instruments, the piano, the guitar, and drums. The trumpets are available. You can learn sound engineering. So come, for we with specific music needs.
Contact us on 0303 400 435.
Music Solutions School, meeting specific music needs.
All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us so we gon' light up the place, yeah. All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us so we gon' light up the place, yeah. We the best, no, no more stress, no, no, better services, yeah. Yeah. Quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we go, you find us so we gon' light up the place.
Hello viewers, you are welcome back to the Voice of the Youth. We have been discussing so far youth interests and party manifestos. In case you just joined us, please, this is the Voice of the Youth, and the topic, as I mentioned earlier, is youth interests and party manifestos. I'll be joined with 2 guests in the studio and 3 other guests via Zoom, and I want you to be part of the discussion. You can send in your comments on this very platform. You can also call in, because the phone lines are open now, so you can call in and make your contributions. You can ask questions as well, and whatever you share with us, we really so much appreciate it. And I want to also remind you to gently invite someone and share and comment and also subscribe to the Mido TV page on YouTube. Thank you so much, and once again, we appreciate having you online. So, Steve and Fanuel, you both and your colleagues via Zoom also argue that manifestos are relevant. You even cited a situation where the Excellency Professor, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo promised to deliver free senior high school, and he has delivered. And some will argue that there are other promises he made that he could not deliver as well. And so, but there is another side of the argument that a number of times the promises, the policies, and the intents that are recorded in these manifestos are not adhered to. If that assumption is to an extent very true, do you think, do we really need manifestos at all? Because some argue that you promise us 100 things and you do one. Do we need manifestos? Let me pick your take first, Fanuel. Now come to Stephen.
Starting with the fact that people promise or governments promise 100 and they do 1 or 2 is because manifestos are not legal documents.
Okay.
There are no parliamentary, how do you call it, bills passed or anything passed to make it legal. That means it's binding.
Some legislative
Like
instruments.
people say governments have social contracts with the people.
Okay.
And it is not based on their manifesto, but it is based on the constitution and the demands from government to help its people grow. So if manifestos were made legal, then we could look at its relevance and its importance. But I think as a country, coming down to Ghana, narrowing it to Ghana, we have come far and have seen the effect of manifestos and how far governments have delivered. So I think it's time for us to move from just allowing political parties put up committees or go for consult people and put together a manifesto that they promise the people. But if we are able to develop a national development plan, which is binding on every political party to pick its manifestos from this plan, then we can look at how relevant it will be to our development. But as it stands now, the political parties look at the resources we have as a country, they look at the strength and then the people they have on their side and see, okay, we can do A, B, C, D for the country. As to whether what they are promising is relevant at the time they are promising it, or it is not, it is their promise. And you see, a section of the people will buy into it because we don't have any plan guiding us as a country. So, okay, if this is what they want to do and we need it as a country, then let us give them the note.
If this is what they want to lead as a country, let's give them
the note for them to do it.
Okay, I will pick Mr. Kubate's take on this. Do we need manifestos?
Oh, like I mentioned earlier on, we need manifestos. They are very, very essential.
Because you promise us 100 things, so don't do them. How do we need them?
Yes, I think that what most politicians and by far political parties have forgotten is that most of them stop campaigning after they win elections. But then there's a new wave across the globe, which is campaigning in government. It means that whilst you are in government, you are still campaigning. And
what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is you are delivering.
Okay.
There's what we call delivery marketing.
Okay.
When you are delivering, you have to let the people know that I am delivering.
Okay.
I promise you A and I'm delivering.
Okay.
And that is why globally, people are saying that, look, delivery is more important than when you are even campaigning to get into the office.
Okay.
So when you are in office, you must continue to campaign.
Okay.
And that is why the setting up of delivery units across the globe is very, very important.
Okay. Okay.
Politicians think that, okay, after I've won the elections, that is all. I promised 10 things that I was going to do. I've done 2 or 3, and I'm not going to do it. But in most cases, sometimes the promises are such that when you don't communicate, people are not able to tell whether you have done A, B, C, D or not.
Okay.
And that comes back to what I say, you need to campaign whilst in government.
So in effect, you mean that we need manifestos?
We need manifestos.
Okay, so let me get back to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, what's your take on it? Do we really need manifestos after you promise us 100 things and you do only one?
I think that that is non-negotiable. We really need manifestos.
Why?
If you don't have manifestos, I don't see what you are going. I don't see. You don't have any business in government. You know, we need manifestos. In order to deal with the challenges that have come up with regards to our system and our governance and all that, I think that we should have a national conversation about, let's say, a development plan for Ghana, like it is in Italy, where they have more like a development plan, and so governments or political parties, situate their policies within that development plan.
Okay.
I remember in the erstwhile under the erstwhile NEC government, they had the National Development Commission that was actually putting up is it a 40-year development plan or so. I really don't get the number of years, but there was a development plan that was ongoing. Okay. And so when we have something like that, political parties can situate their manifestos within that. For example, if we say that in the next 10 years we want to do this, in the next 10 years we want to do that, then your manifestos can actually follow that step or should be geared towards achieving those key targets that we've set for ourselves as a country. I believe that when we do that, we will be able to attain more or get more from political parties, since it is more geared towards like the national, development.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you also agree that we need manifestos. Felix, I will come to you, but let me pick a caller online. Hello, Michael. You are welcome to the Voice of the Youth. Hello, Mr. Michael Ahiabe. You are welcome to the Voice of the Youth. Felix, I will come to...
Hello, thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, please.
And to the team and to our viewers and listeners. All right. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to contribute a little to the interesting show that is ongoing.
Sure, go ahead.
I personally admit that manifestos are very relevant in our political dispensation as a nation. But the reality is that over the years, our political parties have failed us in the delivering of their manifesto promises. And that has not really yielded the relevance that we should be seeing as a nation.
Okay.
And as a youth, speaking to this particular show, I don't want to take it on a partisan line, but just on Saturday, I didn't actually listen to the full manifesto of the current ruling government, who is equally seeking for another opportunity to be given them come December.
Okay.
And what saddens me most about an aspect of their manifesto was to do with the automobile agenda they have for the nation. You know, unfortunately, not many of us are privy to issues that are surrounding us as a nation. Some of these things, it is only when it comes to your attention or to your knowledge that you know the aspect of which a particular person is taking it from. Politics, in reality, and our political parties are causing so much damage to us as a nation. What I want to speak about concerning the automobile vision they have for the nation is brief. As we speak, I have a profile of a company in front of me, which I wouldn't mention. Okay?
Yeah, if you can run up for me, please.
This company planned to execute a project within our nation.
Okay.
And I spoke with the CEO who actually mentioned how he even discovered this as a challenge and the solution, how it will be helping the nation in a long time.
Okay.
So even the site for the project, everything has been put in their proposal or in their profile, and the site has been granted them.
Okay.
Now, I've been speaking to him what the delay of they executing the project has been, and he keeps telling me that the government is not approving their proposal. The government. It is over a year now, and
so the point is that political parties promise all right, but sometimes when it comes to delivering, they are not able to deliver to the best, right?
Yeah, that's the point. But there is something brief.
Thank you very much, Michael. My time has caught up with me. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it for I really appreciate your call in. So, Felix, what's your take on that? You were trying to make a point on that, but I have asked the question now. Do we need manifestos?
Yeah, PK, like I said earlier, we need them. But then when it comes to the delivery, everybody is talking about, how political parties come with manifestos and heinous promises, and at the end of the day, they don't deliver. What is in these manifestos? Now the question is, how many of the citizenry are involved in crafting these manifestos? I know you cannot solicit ideas from the whole nation in putting up a manifesto, but at least I think the NDC did something this year that is commendable. They actually opened up themselves. They set up a website or something so that people who had ideas, could channel them to the committee that was set up. So at the end of the day, if you come to power and you don't deliver, the people know that These are things that emanated from us. And for that reason, when we are asking you to account for it, we know what we are asking for. But in a situation whereby 2 or 3 people go and sit somewhere and craft a policy and come and deliver it to us, and at the end of the day, they don't fulfill what is in this manifesto. At the end of the day, it becomes. Now, how many of the youth are involved in these political parties' manifestos drafting? The Afrobarometer that was released this year was saying that there's a story that is published on GhanasOnline.com. Those who have time, they can go there and search that the wisdom of the elderly and the fresh ideas of the youth. From the South.
Sorry, we lost your sound, Felix. So Wanda, the director of research for Diamond, has joined us via phone whilst Felix rectified his sound. Wanda, you are welcome back.
Thank you.
So you'll be hearing Wanda via phone. So Wanda, do we need manifestos?
Yes, we need manifestos. But we need manifestos before, during, and after the elections. Now, the challenge we have faced as a nation with regards to manifestos is the fact that there is no development plan out of which these manifestos emanate.
Okay.
So every political party brings out what he or she thinks that could be done. Now, and these things that they think could be done are as a result of, one, the individual biases of the people that are in the various committees that are set up by the various political parties to bring out their manifestos.
Okay.
And the groups of people who have influence and are able to get through the consultation stage during their meetings in order to get a manifesto.
Okay.
Now, when this happens, what it does is that when the government comes and leaves office, they start a project, as we have seen in Ghana's contest in the Fourth Republic. Mm-hmm. They start a project, they start activities that have an end in mind.
Okay.
Then they leave office. Another person comes and does not believe in that activity because he or she has come with his own manifesto.
So in a nutshell, you mean to say that, yes, we need manifestos. You all agree that we need manifestos. The challenge is about the execution of these manifestos or the implementations of the policies that contained in these manifestos. Now, can you conclude for me? Can you wrap up for me, please?
And because these manifestos, you see, if the manifestos have a source, then everybody will be drawing from that source. Okay. But unfortunately, the political party manifestos do not have sources. And in all developed countries or countries that have making frantic efforts to develop, what they do is that there is a national consensus built around a certain development plan.
Okay.
So if it's about education, what is the end goal of our education in the next 20, 30, 40 years?
Okay, Wanda, hold it there. Let me ask you this. Your explanations are very clear that the implementations of these manifesto policies are challenging. What do you think is the bottleneck? What is actually the reason why political parties are not able to implement the policies they have outlined in their manifestos? And this will come back, the same question will come back to you, my guest in the studio as well. So let me take your pick first. Wanda, what is the challenge? Why are they not be able to implement their policies?
The challenge is that many of these manifesto promises are not specific, they are not measurable, they are also not attainable, and they are not time-bound. So you see, we have a challenge where we say we want to do, a typical example, one district, one factory for the MPP. Mm-hmm. Then the NDC says they are doing Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project. Okay. Now, these two programs can never take 4 years to complete in any part of our life.
But are they not aware that they are not specific, measurable, or they are not smart?
Yes,
are the political parties not aware?
They are very much aware, but you see, in Ghana, you must, because of illiteracy, you must promise.
Okay.
That people give you mandate.
Okay. So, okay. Thank you very much. You must promise. So let me just take the last one. Let me take Emmanuel. Let me take your concluding remarks on this. This discussion actually is the first phase, as I told you guys. The first phase of our topic will continue next week. But let me take your concluding remark on this. On this political.
Well, I think
why are political parties not able to?
I think that as the youth of Ghana, we need to demand more of our leaders, and if we do that, they would be forced, to actually also give up their best whilst in government. we should drift from the situation where we actually vote, we actually support, or we vote for parties based on our loyalties and all that, and rather look at the national interest and then demand more of our leaders and hold them accountable. I believe that once they make promises through their manifestos and all that, it's a social contract they have with us that they have to, as an act of goodwill, fulfill whilst in government. If they don't, we don't renew their mandate.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you for having Cephas is online. Let me pick Cephas, then I'll get back to Felix. Hello, Cephas. You are welcome to the Voice of the Youth.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm very constrained with time, so you can make it very brief for me, please.
All right. That is what I wanted to come through to the program. First of all, I might commend the production for what you are doing.
Thank you.
It is a very important thing that you are doing. If this initiative were in place prior to the 2016 election, we wouldn't have been witnessing all those grandiose promises some parties made that they are not able to keep. So it's very important. The issue of manifesto is very important.
Okay,
since
please.
Their intentions as to what one would do when you get the power, in aspect of distributing the national cake, the way it will be distributed, it will be distributed in order to benefit the populace. So for you, in perspective, it is very important because the youth are the majority of the population, or even the electorate population.
Cephas, you are a young person. Are you a young person?
Oh, of course. I'm a
Tell
young
me
person.
one expectation of you as a youth regarding party manifestos, please.
My expectation is the agri sector.
Okay, thank you.
This is the area that the majority of the people can be employed.
Okay.
A lot of students, a lot of the well-informed one that can venture into this to create job for themselves as well as create job for others also to be absorbed.
Okay.
So the unemployed to be absorbed. So the government, the incoming government, to look into this direction so that we can absorb the numerous unemployed youth around both the illiterates and the literates and the illiterates.
Okay.
So that yes. So government should be looking at this direction. We cannot be disappointed any longer.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Cephas.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Cephas. So, Cephas, thank you. So, Felix, can I take your concluding remarks? What you think?
Okay, PK, briefly, what I want to say is that political parties are not engaging the actual people that need these, manifesto or the promises. And for that reason, they are making ambitious promises, which at the end of the day, they are not able to deliver.
Okay.
They should reconsider how they formulate these manifestos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felix. I appreciate having you online. I'm sure I'll get you online next week as well. So that's Felix and Emmanuel and Cephas, of course, and Wanda. So, Stephen, your concluding remarks.
Yes, I think there's a global trend.
Okay.
And the global trend is that promise less, deliver more. That is what is happening. But I don't know whether in Ghana we incorporate that. We promise so much that at the end of the day, when we even deliver 3, 4 out of even 100, people do not see. Okay. But when you promise less and then you deliver more, people see that you are delivering. Okay. So I think that is what political parties need to do. Okay. Otherwise, manifestos will just become the usual documents that dust would engulf in their offices.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Fanwa?
So my concluding remarks is that if we should have a national development plan, where political parties are mandated to pick their manifestos from, then we would have manifestos that present to us strategies to deliver the plans in the development policy, not promises. Okay. So, for instance, if we are talking about jobs, if your manifesto is coming out, you would come out with strategies at which you would get jobs for the youth, but not to say, okay, if I'm giving the mandates, I would create this number of jobs. How are the jobs going to be created? So at the long run, if you are holding you accountable to that promise, since it was taken from a document that is legally binding, we can say you promised you do this, this, and this in this way. What happened? Then we can now assess to say, okay, giving mandate to this group of people or that group of people, it would really benefit us as a country and then help the youth develop themselves.
Thank you very much. Help the youth develop themselves. If the manifestos are well structured, the execution plans are well outlined, the monitoring, the evaluations, structures or standards are put in place, then we know that we are on the right path. Viewers, so far we are bringing our show to a close. In fact, it's just the first phase of this particular discussion. Next week, God willing, we are going to look at the role of the media in ensuring that the illiterates are well educated as far as the manifestos of the political parties are concerned. And we also like to know the role the youth are supposed to play themselves in following these manifestos, in demanding accountability from the political parties, in contributing and making their input into the political party manifestos. So it's going to be a great discussion. And this has been the voice of the youth. We have so far discussed youth interests and party manifestos. I have been joined in the studio by these two gentlemen, Stephen Kubati Salifu, who is the Deputy National Sponsorship Advisor, SOS Children's Home Ghana.
Children's Villages Ghana.
Children's Villages Ghana. Okay. I have to just cancel this. Children's Villages Ghana. Stephen, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And we also have our regular guest, Fanuel Seligakoto. Fanuel, thank you so much for joining us. And we appreciate having you always in the studio. And I want to say thank you to the production team, the director, Dominic Ansansari, the team, Abel, Pate, Edmond, Mr. Sante, Abigail, Jeff, and also Maxwell. I want to wish you a happy belated birthday. I couldn't wish you the last time, but I want to wish you a happy belated birthday. And to all those celebrating their birthday today, I wish you the best. Yeah, so until next week, Monday, I also want to announce to you that on this same platform, on Wednesdays, we have another program that comes from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, and that is Chewadrin, hosted by Nature, and it's a social discursive program that you don't want to miss. Then the next day, which is Thursday, we are usually hosted by the only DJ in town, DJ Humble, for Throwback Thursday Bash, and that comes to you on Thursdays from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So stay tuned to this studio or this TV, Mido TV, on these days, and we'll always make you educated, entertained, and you always make yourself very happy. Until then, stay tuned, and may God bless us all. This has been the voice of the youth, and I am your host, Pakwe Siedu.